Well, first of all, I didn't break it.
You didn't?
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't break it, and I'm trying to fix it. But yes, it is. I think we look at recruiting as a sunk cost, and it should be a capital investment, and I think that's the biggest reason why it's broken. Well, first of all, you talk to executive leadership from a position where you speak about time, money, and risk. Then you make sure that you communicate what you do in terms of outcomes, not in terms of actions or activity. The CEO hired you to recruit. So if you went to the CEO and said, we have 20 hires, CEO is going to say, great, isn't that what you were supposed to do? But if you instead go and say, we've managed to increase profit by 2% through our recruiting efforts, that's the kind of thing that the CEO will listen to. So if you talk about time, money, and risk, and if you communicate your strategic initiatives in terms of the actual outcomes, you can have that conversation with the CEOs. The bottom line is that sourcing is a capital investment because you can find people ahead of them peaking at their production level. So for example, you bring them in a little bit earlier rather than having to go out and recruit all the already established experts. You bring them in based on macro commonalities that you can identify through sourcing and hire them before they become the next expert, and you have an investment in them that will then provide return on investment. So that's a big part of how we do that. No, just learn to connect the dots between what they do and the strategic leadership's objectives. So if the strategy is this year we need to increase sales by 3%, then this HR organization steps in and illustrates how they're going to achieve that outcome as opposed to just a number of recs or a number of hires. So it doesn't mean necessarily that recruiting needs to become a business expert, but most recruiting departments already know quite a bit about the business. So it's really more about changing the way we communicate what we do and demonstrate the outcomes that we have to executive leadership and shifting away from that urgent help me now button where the rec is opened right now and we need it immediately, but that person was promoted 6 months ago. That person has been developed for a year and we knew they were going to be promoted. So we should have been recruiting for that role 6 months ago and we didn't. And that doesn't mean we have to change anything, just get involved a little bit earlier and at a broader level. Thank you. I think the biggest impact that we can have in the industry is by bringing in a whole generation of fresh new talent. So a lot of my direction and focus in the coming years is going to be to try to drive people to consider recruiting as a viable career option and become recruiters, get into the business. We have an online diploma that you can take that will take you from zero experience to a productive recruiter using the most modern available online training format, and it's very quick and very inexpensive. So it's the future of education in that it's job training, it's preparing you for the job. So we'd like to bring in fresh people and show them from the beginning how they can do this right. So rather than having to convince people that have already been doing it the wrong way and trying to fix what's broken, we'll be bringing them in fresh and doing it correctly from the beginning. So that's a big part of it. And education is I think, the answer to that big question. The Sourcing Institute, thesourcinginstitute.com, we're an online education institution for recruiting and sourcing. And as a matter of fact, we have, just as of today, announced that we are doing the world's greatest sourcer competition, where you stand to win $2,500 cash prize by being selected as the world's greatest sourcer through a series of 10 online challenges that we're calling the Sourcing Decathlon. Pages.thesourcinginstitute.com/contest.